bioengineering from University of Tulsa, and then got her PhD in bioengineering from Georgia Tech. And now she does business development for genetic diagnostic companies. I think that was a mouthful. Can you talk about what you did in school and your career path and how it got you to what you're doing today?
I started out working on ways to do targeted work with Dr. Mark Cousins, and we called our lab the drug delivery lab, and we were kind of joked about how we weren't really trustworthy, right? Because we were always trying to deliver things in routes that weren't normal. So you couldn't use pills or injections. So
But innovative.
Very innovative. And they're famous now for doing vaccine patches. I focused on using ultrasonic waves to make cells more amenable to human therapeutics in a targeted fashion. And along that route, I learned a lot about molecular biology and cell injury. And I also worked with a famous microscopist called Robyn Schlicher. And we did some of the seminal work in electron microscopy to look at prostate cancer cells. And that work went global. It was in the Boston Globe, this big picture.
How did you choose to leave academia for industry?
So I was in academia at a time when it started to get very competitive to find roles in academia. So we all came in with this whole thought, we're going to do what's logical and get a postdoc or become a professor. And those days started really stretching out. People were getting 2 and 3 postdocs. It was very hard to get grant money. So I was fortunate that I was on a well-funded program and I actually got grant money. But I was working with some startup companies along the way too, and it was hard to get venture capital. So I actually use new tools. I'm all about innovation, so I put my name on LinkedIn. I was one of the early adopters, and Abbott Labs hired me kind of the next day.
Wow!
So thanks.
Off of LinkedIn?
Off of LinkedIn.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I was actually at a dance festival when they called.
Wow.
Which was really funny. So I'm like, there's drums in the background. I'm like, Abbott Labs.
Yeah.
So I went to Abbott Labs and I became a field expert for their molecular diagnostics division, which was actually kind of exactly where I've been wanting to go like since I was a child. Like I wanted to work in cancer but not necessarily be the physician. I wanted to help guide people to understand what cancer really meant. And if you look at genetics today and how we're trying to use it, it's not just in cancer guidance, it's in all kinds of esoteric diseases. And I myself have a bit of an esoteric disease. I suffer from an inability to methylate properly. And thanks to the work that I've been helping to build, we looked at my genes and I have this problem and now I can be treated. So I live a very, very wide life. So I got an opportunity with like a microsystems and they hired me to kind of do some territory management. I was able to travel around looking at things that very few people have seen. I've seen my time with electron microscopes. I worked at Gatan. I've seen atoms. I've seen stem cells. I helped derive super resolution work that won a Nobel Prize. Came to California with a company and jumped into a company that focused on NIPT and started doing global licensing. And it brought together all the skills I've been working on for about 20 years now.
So now you're doing business development for genetic diagnostics.
Yes.
Okay. So how does that accumulate from all of your experiences from before?
If you really want to impact patients directly, you need to work in the clinical space and you need to bring solutions that make sense. You have to make sure that you can get them the right solution that makes sense medically and in a business way. Because if people can't afford it, or if it's too complex or difficult for the FDA to really consider it useful for patient care, you're kind of not helping them immediately. That takes all of the things that I learned from a technical standpoint, all of those connections that I made, my deep understanding of engineering, my deep understanding of how labs work, my understanding of how patients get care from the time I was at Emory, and it kind of couples it together with the business work that I did in sales, working with these companies like Danaher. And now I'm able to kind of be like a force for good. You know?
So right now we're at the Bay Area Science Festival. What do you find fun about things like this, and what else do you like to do in your spare time?
So I do this kind of thing for fun, actually. I love to go out and do a scientific evangelism, scientific communication demonstration to children. I give lectures even remotely to kids in underdeveloped, underprivileged areas to help them understand that you can be a scientist. I actually came from a very impoverished part of Oklahoma, put myself through school.
Wow.
So they need to hear that story. I also have a very creative side, which is funny. I'm writing a book. And
so cool!
But I've been working on that for a long time because of my travel and businesses. But I've taken a job recently that gives me more flexibility in that. So I'm really trying to focus on that. I used to teach dance lessons there.
What kind of dance lessons?
So belly dance, actually,
Okay.
which is very big here in the Bay Area. And I paint. I went to art school for a time. And in the wintertime, I tend to knit a lot. Because what else are you going to do when you're on a plane for 10 hours to London? So,
PhDizzle.
having fun with smart people who do cool things.